Hello everyone and welcome to Frontier Unlocked. It's the May edition, which means we have done 5 of these shows already, all of them jam-packed with content. So thanks everyone for sticking around. We've got a jam-packed show again today. And hello to everyone in chat. Someone did say it was 20 seconds till the Thargoids arrived. I am not a Thargoid, despite my looks. I am actually human, it's true. But hello to everyone in chat, all of our zookeepers, all of our Jurassic fans, all of our F1 fans, and 07 to all of our commanders out there. Hello, 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 welcome, and thank you for joining with us again for another month of news. So hello, everyone. I see everyone in there. I see local. Oh my, it's moving well quick now. So, okay. Tamo Hack, Satec, Mechanic Guide. I'm getting the names wrong. But we can see everyone here. I see YouTube people. I see people on Twitch. So I see you all. So thank you so much for joining. Chat was moving really quickly there. But 07s and hello. So welcome to everyone to the show. So before I get into what's going to be on the show today, there are some, as always, some rudimentary housekeepings. But they're all good housekeeping stuff, actually, because if you watch this show for 20 minutes or more, especially if you're an Elite Dangerous fan, you will be eligible for some drops. And the drops that we have for today are for the Imperial Courier and the Dolphin, and it's the Meteor Blue, which should be on your screen now. Now, for full context, I can't see if it's on your screen, but I'm assuming on your screen, and then you can see the Meteor Blue screenshots. So there you go. That's what you can earn simply by watching for 20 minutes. Now, remember, you must claim these, otherwise you won't get them in the game. So just watch for 20 minutes. You can bear putting up with me for 20 minutes, then you will earn these shots. But actually, don't worry about me. It's the content you've come here for. We've got loads of news for you. So we're going to be talking about some DLCs that we released for both Jurassic World Evolution 2 and for Planet Zoo on console. Then the wonderful Alex is going to sit down with the F1 Manager 24 development team and talk and have a good look at creator team. And then I sit down with Zach and talk about a ship I may have mentioned at the end of the last show, which was the Type 8. So stick around because there's loads of stuff to talk about. But before we do any of that, in a break from the norm, well, it's not really a break from the norm, but we also have a competition. So if you're watching, I don't know if you can see this on screen, but we have a plethora of gifts. Plethora, I love that word. So we have the ever standard, ever staple Planet Zoo water bottle. We've got a lunchbox. We've got this wonderful mechanical keyboard for F1 Manager fans. There we go. There's only a couple of these left. We have the Zoo press kit, which actually has one of those... I don't know what they're called now, these massive cups in it with a straw. I can't unpack this, because if I try and unpack it, chat, it will just fall on the floor, it'll be broken. You won't want a broken reusable cup thing. But it's in there, there's also a blanket, it's lovely. We've got an Elite Dangerous beanie, we've got Elite Dangerous pin, we've got Planet Zoo pin, we've got Planet Coaster pin, we've got a headset to give away, and we've got a vinyl to give away. And all of this can be yours. It's very, very simple. So we're going to run this competition ahead of our 2 main sort of news segment pieces, so we get it done and we have a winner sort of early doors for you. And all you need to do, literally all you need to do to win all of this stuff is in the chat, it's !Meg, M-E-G, !Meg. Obviously, it is case sensitive, it's all one word, so pop it in there. So obviously, I'm going to read some of the T's and C's. This is a Frontier Twitch channel only competition. Geographical restrictions will apply. Check the terms and conditions. For full details, go to frontier.co.uk/legal. And this information is also posted in the chat. So if you're a winner, please look out for a DM from us on Twitch so we can get your details. It will be officially us. You'll know it's us because we're wonderful and great. So there we go. Good luck to everyone. !Meg. Now, I seem to have lost chat. It seems to have stopped for me. I'm assuming it's because 8 billion people are typing Meg at the moment. So if I can't see you in chat, I'm very, very sorry. Right. So we've only got an hour with me. It feels like a Christmas story, doesn't it? You only have an hour with me, chat. But for our first segment, we're going to talk about some of the DLCs. So first up, we're going to talk about the DLC that launched for Jurassic World Evolution 2, and that is the Park Managers Collection Pack, which came out, I think it was May 16th, and it's the one with the Meg. It was the one that was wonderfully teased by the awesome Harry, I think in the last show, as I know the Meg's been a feature favourite for, or a wanted animal creature, dinosaur, for a long time. So all your inner Jason Stathams, it's there for you, so have a look at the trailer and enjoy.
Discover the greatest and smallest creatures to roam our prehistoric planet, with legendary giants of the oceans and skies to the humblest of creatures to walk the earth. Microceratus, a small ceratopsid dinosaur from the late Cretaceous period. With a distinctive frill, this small bipedal herbivore lacks the horns of its mightier relatives, relying instead on speed and agility to avoid predators. The great Thanatos Drakon, This genus of pterosaur was one of the largest to roam the coasts of the late Cretaceous period. With a mighty wingspan and enormous beak, the aptly named Dragon of Death ruled over the prehistoric skies of South America. A nimble scavenger, Stegosaurus scurried through the sands of the early Jurassic. This small theropod has long arms and powerful legs for its size, and although not as fearsome as its larger brethren, it still relies on speed and cunning to hunt its prey. Megalodon, the largest shark in all existence. With a bite force 5 times greater than that of T-Rex and jaws lined with over 275 teeth, this apex predator of the early Miocene ruled the oceans for over 13 million years. These wondrous species once lived many epochs apart, now brought together for all park managers by the power of science.
There we go. So that's a wonderful trailer. I was enjoying, actually, chat. I was enjoying all the comments. So I enjoyed the. In fairness, producer Adam was like, "It makes sense why I picked Meg, right?" I was like, "Yes, it does make sense." Although people are referencing Family Guy, it isn't a Family Guy reference. I also enjoyed Lord He Big when the Meg was on screen, so that was fun. So I'm glad you enjoyed that. So this update obviously brought 4 new species, including obviously the Megalodon, which you've been talking about, and plus a new skin for the T-Rex. I think it was also released with a free update with some new sceneries and some bug fixes as always. Now, some of the eagle-eyed of you may have noticed that we're very, very happy to announce that we'll be working with our friends at Universal again. And for all of our Jurassic fans, we will have some more news for you a little bit later on down the road. But for now, we're going to move on to the other DLC we released in this month, which was only yesterday, I believe, for Planet Zoo on console, which was the Twilight and Aquatic bundle. Do we have a trailer for this, producer Adam? We do. He's nodding furiously. But this actually came with 10 animals, 370 scenery pieces and 2 new scenarios. So let's have a look at that trailer now. There we go. So that is the wonderful Twilight and Aquatic pack bundle that released yesterday. So there we go. That's 2 amazing DLCs that have come out. Now, talking about amazing things, one of you has won this amazing bundle of prizes, and I actually do have a winner. So thank you for all your entrants. As I said, we're trying to get the competition done early doors, and the winner is none other than Stainless 71. Stainless 71. Congratulations. Look out for a DM from us, and we'll get all this stuff boxed up, packaged up, and winging its way to you for you to enjoy. So congratulations, GGs, and all that talk to you. Well done for winning the bundle. Right. Now let's talk about Formula One Manager 24. So obviously we've announced that it's going to be releasing July 23rd. It's available to pre-order right now. And we released the gameplay trailer, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. It's really cool. So we're going to play it for you now, and then we're going to get into a little bit more detail. Have a look.
Welcome to F1 Manager 2024. A new Formula One season is underway, and this year's game is the most feature-rich experience to date. For the first time in the series, line up on the grid as a new 11th team with Create a Team mode. Choose from a range of origins or forge your own path and tailor your starting finances, facilities, performance and staff. Hire the seasoned veterans of F1, invest in the stars of the future, or choose from newly generated drivers and staff. Name your team, pick your brand colors, and build your team's identity using the in-depth logo editor. Customize the look of your car, race suits, and helmet via the livery editor. Negotiate lucrative sponsor deals in the updated sponsorship system and build their brands into your liveries. Create your own journey and challenge the grid to take your place in the pantheon of F1 greats. The dramatic world of F1 comes to life on and off the track with the brand new mentality system. Managing the personalities and needs of your staff and drivers now makes all the difference in your pursuit of points. Favoring a driver can create unwanted friction. Poor performance may leave your staff demotivated. Deliver results on and off the track to satisfy your team's demands to ensure their heads stay in the game. Your management style is the key to success. The new Affiliate Drivers feature enables you to build a legacy by fostering talents from F2 and F3 to add to your own affiliate pool. Access the stars of the future and ensure their success is your success. The F1 paddock is a fierce landscape. Failure to keep your stars happy will present rivals with opportunities to poach your talent this year, disrupting your team's trajectory towards the top. Keep the board on side by delivering results to continue your ascent, or have your leadership called into question and be forced to take a step down the pecking order. In Formula One, even the best laid strategies can end at the first turn. The introduction of mechanical failures this year delivers dynamic races with ever-evolving challenges and opportunities. Pushing cars to the edge lap after lap will exact a toll. Can you mitigate these issues as they arise to stay on track? Ensure that you are in a position to capitalize on your rivals' issues and claim unexpected results. Circuit visuals have also been upgraded for F1 Manager 2024. Marbling and enhanced use of real-world data mean that tracks look and behave more realistically than ever, no matter the weather or time of day. Utilize a brand new strategic perspective with Helicam, giving you a bird's-eye view when drivers execute your commands. F1 Manager 2024 is the most feature-rich experience to date and promises to test your management credentials both on and off the track when the game releases on the 23rd of July 2024.
There we go, and I think the trailer looks incredible. So, now we've seen the trailer, I think we should have a bit of a deep dive. So the wonderful Alex from our PR team dipped in and had an interview with some of our developers because I was off sick last week. I wasn't very, very well. So thank you so much for Alex for stepping in last minute. I think he's done a great job. So let's have a look at that interview right now.
Hello, Frontier Unlocked, and thank you very much for the intro, Arthur. My name is Alex. I'm one of the PR managers here at Frontier, and it is my honour and also a terrifying privilege to give you a first look at the wonderful new creator team tools in F1 Manager 2024. So luckily, I might be a novice, but I'm helped out by some wonderful experienced members of our team. So can we just kind of give a little quick intro, who you are, what you do at Frontier?
So I'm Matt, I'm the art director for the project.
I'm Alex, I'm an associate engineering manager on programming team.
And I'm Carlos, I'm a senior data designer.
Fantastic. So without further ado, let's get started with the brand new creator team mode coming to F1 Manager 2024. I guess first of all, while I start setting this up, why have we added creator team to the game this year?
Who wants to take that?
Well, I mean, one of the big things I think that both we as fans and the community want is to be able to sort of, you know, build your dream team. It's really fun to play the official teams, but it's something that everyone dreams about is obviously building their own F1 team, and this is the feature that delivers it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, speak for everyone that's an F1 fan out there, when we've all been growing up as kids watching the sport, and you get really into like the idea of like creating your own team, creating your own livery and things like that. So starting off then, so we obviously changed the team name there to Frontier Unlocked Racing, very official. But we also have these origins at the bottom here. So we're gonna continue with the Your Story one. But I'm just going to sort of click through the different team origins here so that the audience back home get to have a look at all of these. But team origins, what are they? Why are they sort of benefit to the player?
So if I can take that one, I think that's we thought that was a cool starting point for players that just want to engage with the story straight away without spending a lot of time on creating their own and trying to go through all the presets, all the selections they have to make. So we did take some inspiration, not going to lie, from real life events in F1, things that we've seen in the past happen, some of the trends when there is a new team coming in, what they look like, what kind of resources they have. So for example, we have their automotive legacy, so that's one where this is a team that's well established. They've been in motorsports before, so they get a default kind of set start. So they have, you can see at the bottom, they have 3 pips for each of those 4 different presets or different steps in the setup phase. Then you have others like the technical breakthrough, which takes inspiration. If you think about Braun GP in 2009, that's basically what happened. So they had a really good car. They had not very good, resources back at HQ and back home, but they had really good staff and they had competent drivers. So those kind of presets, those kind of stories really help the player just get into a story straight away and take inspiration from that.
Fantastic. So when we're picking these team origins, obviously some of these sections of the create a team section are going to be closed off. They're locked because this is a preset team origin. It's a particular challenge that the player might want to take on if you're a fan there. And like you say, if the automotive legacy one that Carlos has just been talking about there sounds of interest to you, then some of these elements will be set up for you already. We're going to go for Your Story because everyone back at home would want to click every single button on this screen, so I am going to make sure that we do that. So we're going to move now into team setup. So this is something that you get with your own team origin setup. So while I just sort of move through some of the options here, can we just sort of explain a little bit about how you would go about setting your team up and the sort of different restrictions you can place on yourself here?
Yeah, I'll have this one as well. Exactly. You can just choose your own story, choose how much balance you can choose, go any facilities you want and see how good is your car. And especially, yes, you can fine tune all your buildings and just select exactly what level you go for. It's worth mentioning that we have obviously three different tabs over there. And then you just choose within the tab. You can't apply points from one tab to another because obviously like having the operational facilities, they're not going to be as as expensive as the development facilities because that's like very expensive buildings. Because otherwise you can just disable helipad and build more design centers. This one you can just go within.
I'm putting all my points in memorabilia room.
I will go for helipad. That's my personal choice.
Yeah. we're going to be fully set up, ready for the trophies that we are 100% going to win. Yeah. With me at the helm here.
Very confident. Love it.
So yeah, and then we also have the car performance as well there. So I guess that affects sort of how we are coming into that first race weekend of the year. You know, are we right at the back of the grid? Do we want to be 21st and 22nd, moving our way right up the grid order, or do we want to kind of come back in and surprise everybody by being in that front pack?
Yeah, so this provides you effectively an extra layer of difficulty options as well. Again, it's all about giving the players the opportunity to create their own story, but they can also decide what kind of challenge they want to have for multiple playthroughs. So sometimes they might decide, okay, I'm going to go low on everything, really test myself against the best, or I'm just going to have a quick start, be almost as good as Red Bull, and just go for it. So that's kind of the offers we have, the choice we have.
Fantastic. And so I've just moved into the next section where we're going to pick our drivers and staff. Now, conveniently, we have ended up with the Ferrari lineup for next season paired together. But we do have this sort of randomized staff options as well, where we can use generated drivers. We can adjust this to affect all the different team members. So I'm going to go and I'm going to change out a couple of drivers here. So something that we've seen after the fantastic trailer was released recently was people coming back to us and saying, well, can the quality of the driver be impacted by our budget, right? So I guess in the creator team, the sort of team origin section of that, we're able to set our own limitations, right? We can pick drivers from F2, F3, etc. But within the pre-selected team origins, those are going to have determined levels of driver, right?
Yeah, so I mean, you can see here that you're looking at sort of three-star or 3-pip drivers. So in this particular mode, you're free to change that rating and pick from people that are, fantastic or just starting out their careers. If you go with the team origins, these things are more limited, so it forces you into picking certain categories of drivers. So again, there's multiple ways you can play it. You can set your own limits in here, or you can pick an origin that kind of aligns with the story that you want to go with.
Fantastic. I think we're going to go for Liam Lawson. We showed him off in the last Frontier Unlocked, but I think Lawson and Leclerc, the two L's for Unlocked. And then we also have obviously all the different staff as well there that we're able to jump in and edit ourselves. And then we move on to powertrain selection. So I guess with mechanical failures coming in this year, this has a much greater kind of implication for the player, right? Last year it was a decision on power and durability, but and the efficiency. So the durability really kind of plays into that a lot more this year.
Yeah. So that's true. Of course, like now when you have a chance of your engine failing, like you might want to consider going for more durable engine. Which ones are currently more durable? Is it going to be the Mercedes one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Historically, it's been
100% durability, or 100 durability at least. I mean, obviously.
Yes, those are not percentages; those are just ratings.
Yes, absolutely. And something to flag here as well, before we get too far into this, is that this is taken from a development build, as it says at the top of the screen. So a bunch of these assets and ratings may change before you pick up the game in July. So, right, now we need to get onto the real kind of exciting thing, because I know we've built our team throughout this sort of section. We've put all the foundations in. This is me as like a 5-year-old F1 fan sat like drawing liveries on outlines. I am going to try and recreate a kind of Frontier Unlocked brand. It's going to probably go horribly wrong, but luckily the team are kind of going to talk you over the top of what we're doing here. And hopefully I make something that looks vaguely good when it goes on track.
If it's really good, we'll add it to the game, so no pressure.
There's a commitment there, chat, so I hope you all hold the team to that. So we've got, we can adjust the sort of colours here. So these are like the colours that are going to appear like across the game, right? So across the kind of like timing towers and things like that.
Yeah, so like everything, we've tried to give the player as much customization as possible. So the team colours are kind of like the top level colours, so they affect things like your HQ buildings, your staff shirts, your garages, your pit walls, your gantries, and all those sorts of like really high level team things. And then obviously you've got the slightly sort of more focused stuff in both the drivers and the cars. So you can go crazy and make something that's wild and outlandish and everything's very sort of unconnected, or you can go for something and theme everything using the same colours and make it very coherent and branded. It's up to you again.
So here we are, our sort of, I guess, our blank canvas to start from. So just talk us through presets. What are these options? Obviously, I can very quickly change the look of my car here.
So with the presets, what we've done is try to give players again like an interesting base they can start with. So again, maybe not everyone that plays the game is wanting to sit here and spend some time designing their car, and they just want to pick something that looks good. So we've built some presets already for you, so you can pick from those. You can edit the presets as well, so you might just find that they're a good place to start, give you some ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. But because I'm a design professional, obviously I'm going to start, and from the base I'm going to do everything that I can here. So we've got a mix here of the more kind of your traditional kind of racing style, loads of stripes and block colours. but also I'm seeing some kind of like camo inspired ones here. There's one with a tiger on the side, which is incredible. Yeah, there's also the kind of wheel patterns as well. So you know, how much sort of creativity is there for players really to play around? And do you guys have, while I'm doing this and you know hopefully getting some tips from you guys, what are your kind of favorite liveries that you've created in the game so far?
Yeah, so like obviously we try to give as much as possible options for player to change. And you can see here you already played with different finish, so you can go for different finish, and that will obviously reflect light differently, look differently in different conditions. There's also, if you scroll there, you can get into the carbon fiber effect, which is really fun, really cool, if you ask me.
Oh, fantastic.
Again, you can't change the color on that one, but it looks very cool. And probably the biggest one, the most coolest effect you see is the gradient, because that one gives you like so much more power at changing the colors. Yes, exactly. You can change
Oh, wow.
how the gradient looks in the car. You can change if it's horizontal, vertical. I think there is also the radial one as well. Again, basically you have more than 3 colors. You have like 6 colors basically in the game. And yeah, you can apply, and in the bottom you can see your recent created colors. So for example, you have your purple, so you can apply your Frontier Unlocked purple in your car.
Oh, lovely.
I like this pattern lock, by the way.
Yeah, it's. I think I started off with a bold choice of colours, and now I'm thinking, oh, this looks slightly more gaudy than I was probably going for. But you know, no one can tell me that this isn't going to stand out on the grid, which is good. So let's just. Oh, I quite like that actually. We can drop them on the end there, and we've got the sort of different finishes there as well, which again I really like. That we're able to pop those on there. So let me just pop that a little bit more red actually, because the Frontier Unlocked red, I've got producer Adam in the corner kind of pointing the colours out to me. So we'll go with that then. So then that's our car livery, but also that spans across the driver's suit as well, right? So I can go in, we obviously have the preset for those as well. But we can edit our driver suit in here with the same kind of variation. So how kind of important was it for you guys when we started working on the creative team stuff that that like level of creativity comes all the way across the different elements of the game?
I mean, when we sat down, we planned it out. I think it was super important that we made sure it was as open and flexible and as accessible as possible. So we want to make sure that if you've got a very specific idea of what you want, you can jump right in and make it. If you're not a hugely creative person, but you have an idea, you can still go in and express yourself. So it's we like to call these sorts of things nested complexity. But what it actually means is basically we want people with a range of abilities and interests to jump right in. And if you look at the history of F1, I mean, all the liveries and the cars that have existed through time, the variety is huge. It's really important that players can make their favourite one, because it isn't necessarily everyone's favourite one.
Yeah, I love that the gradient stuff kind of comes across the helmets as well. Really cool that we can change that. And these, when you match these up, they kind of make like quite harsh lines, don't they? So you can kind of add that like extra like line to the front there if we wanted to. But I really like this kind of like soft blend into the front. It's really cool, particularly on like the suits and the helmets, where you can create that kind of like flowing color look. I sound like know what I'm talking about when it comes to design. I have not the foggiest chat, but no one is telling me off yet, so that must mean I'm doing a good job.
No, and that's the beauty of it. I think the ability to either make it seamless, make it flow, or just go for something different. So you can have the helmet looking different to the rest of the suit. You can have the suit looking different to the car, and it's really up to the player to decide what to do. So
fantastic. And now, obviously, right, we've got the look of the car, we've got the look of the drivers and the helmets. So now we're moving on to the logo. So the kind of like badge of the team's identity. We've got a couple of presets here, but we do also have a little Frontier Unlocked logo that we made ourselves, kind of in the style of like popular British TV shows. Here's one we made earlier. But we can go in, we can edit all of these layers. So if I wanted to, like change the color of these, for example, again, we have the little sort of color checks there that we can use. And there's sort of scaling there. But I guess if I just go through and sort of look at at these? You know, have you seen some quite creative logos within the internal teams at the moment? I think I've seen a couple of screenshots where people have sort of really gone out to either replicate something from the past or like created something entirely like unique to themselves. So yeah, it really, really cool to see all these, and like the little light letters as well. We could put on like a little like Frontier Unlocked F.
When you say little.
Yeah, that's quite big, but handily that caveats us into the fact that you can scale and move all these around. And this like scaling tool, this applies to the sponsor editor as well, right? So we're not going to touch on that one in this Frontier Unlocked. Come back in a future one. We will definitely be talking about sponsorship. But all these kind of like free scale movement tools are possible in the sponsorship editor, right?
Absolutely. So again, like we've touched on before, we've tried to make sure that there's a common way of doing everything. So these sort of manipulators, as we like to call them, are common across multiple areas of the game where you have to move things around in 2D or 3D space. The colour sort of systems are the same. This is hopefully familiar to anyone that's sort of worked with layer-based editors before, so you can kind of stack these things up and move them around and make ever more complex and interesting shapes.
Oh yes, because there is the I can see the in the bottom corner there, we can move the layers up and down. So if you are wanting to create really kind of unique, bespoke logos, and you are much more creative than I am, then you are able to do that as well. So that is our team logo that's done, that's on the floor there. We've got our beautiful car, which I'll be honest, I think when I started designing it in my head, it might have looked slightly different to this, but hey, you know what, we're gonna roll with it. So our final little bits to tweak here, we have the guidance and the career difficulty. So do we want to just touch really briefly on difficulty, something that obviously came to the game last year, post-launch, but people might not have seen this at all before. So career difficulty, how do you kind of choose where to go with that?
Well, I think it's obviously depends how much challenge you want. It's worth noting exactly we've added in during the previous game, and we have expanded, and we have, obviously, it supports new features like mechanical failures, and then, of course, Team AI is also been improved a lot. So I would recommend, of course, starting with standards, high if you want a little more challenge, and then go for easy. If you think you just want to see your team like winning, it's still not going to be like super easy, of course. It still be a challenge, but yeah, I think you should go for high.
I think what's nice though here is, because we split it into car and race, you can kind of fine-tune where you want to invest your time. So I think there's people out there that really enjoy the race element and they want to make that really hard. They don't want to focus too much on their car development, or vice versa, people that are really sort of into how they develop the car. So it kind of gives you that ability to, again, fine-tune how you want to experience the game. Fantastic.
So as we kind of move into the start of the season, we've got our two drivers, we've got our car ready for development. We will be going through a lot more of this in a lot more detail in future Frontier Unlocked. But I just want to say firstly a massive thank you to you guys for joining me, for sort of steering me through my first livery creator and the creator team section of the game. I am unbelievably excited to see players unleash their inner child when they start creating this and really bringing their passion for F1 to life. So that's your first look at Create a Team. As we mentioned at the start there, the game assets and ratings aren't final, so you might have noticed Valtteri Bottas sneaking into my livery and logo editor there. He clearly just really wants to be part of the team. Valtteri, I am always here for you if you need me. But without further ado, I'm going to hand it back over to Arf in the studio.
There we go. So that was a great interview by Alex. So thank you so much, Alex, for stepping in at the last minute. An absolute pro. So we get some love in the chat for Alex and the devs for that interview. It was really well done. Thank you so much, Alex and the devs. But whilst we had the developers locked down, there's a load of AI enhancements going into Formula One Manager 24. So we thought we'd take the time to get them talk you through just some of them. And we have a video of that too. So have a look at this.
So of course we have added difficulty options last year post-launch as a patch to F1 Manager 2023. and you can select from several difficulty options, and you can obviously change difficulty options separate for race management and race sim. During the races, it will determine how they react to the things that are happening during the race, and they will choose the exact same options that you player have, so that how much you push in the car, how much you save fuel, when you do a pit stop. This will also mention, it will change how they react to the safety cars and stuff like this, and anything that happens during the race really. They will also react to the player options as well. If you push, they will try to push as well to catch up with you, to get from DRS range and stuff like that.
Yeah, and obviously those decisions that they make during the races, during the race weekends, will have an impact on the long-term season planning for those teams as well. So the team management side, that's all those decisions are impacting the teams, the AI teams, as well as the players' teams when it comes to leaving the race weekend. So if we think if they push too much on powertrain components, if they've done a lot of pushing during the race to get positions, then that obviously is going to have an impact on how much they wear, and that gets transported to team management. So penalties might come when the season is finishing. Obviously, the AI, in terms of team management, there's been a lot of work done on it. So decisions like which drivers to hire, how much teams invest in facilities, and so on, is controlled by difficulty levels as well. So the easier the player chooses to play, then the more leeway they'll have to surpass other teams that perhaps don't invest as much and don't make those decisions as good and as effective as the player. Yeah, so in terms of driver poaching, the player can absolutely counter-offer. So the offers and the dilemmas will come through emails. The player will receive one as soon as there is an offer for one of their drivers. That kickstarts the flow of the poaching process. So there will be a back and forth. The driver might be more inclined or less inclined to accept that offer from the rival team. There's also an impact from mentality on this. So if you're managing your driver really well and they're happy where they are, then they're less likely to accept that offer. But if they're not, then obviously the player can try and still renegotiate the contract they have with the current driver and sign them for a few more years and keep everyone happy. So in terms of poaching and what we're introducing for F1 Manager 24, the offers will come mid-season. So the player will receive offers for drivers as they come during the season. As we've seen with Hamilton and Ferrari for 25, that is something we're going to represent in game. So the offer will come at some point in the season. The player can then have the option to renegotiate if they want to and try and re-sign that driver and make them happy. But there will be a lot of considerations around when those offers happen, how aggressive the other teams, the rival teams, will be with their offers. So again, difficulty options have a big impact on that. So other teams might be more aggressive in terms of trying to poach the best drivers or the most promising drivers as well. This happens for both the players' team and other rival teams as well, other AI teams. So if we say the player is Mercedes, Alpine are trying to poach one of the drivers, that means that the Alpine will potentially be trying to sign one of the Ferrari drivers and just have a full pool of drivers to select from. So this will be constant during the season. The AI teams will then try to sign drivers for the following seasons as well. And yeah, it's going to be very dynamic.
Yeah, so I've been working quite hard on the car behavior for F1 Manager 2024. We have lots of improvements just to make it look more realistic and closer to the reality. We have made improvements for car smoothness around the track, how it goes around the corners, and also how it's recovering from the incidents. So it will try to recover as fast as possible, of course, if it didn't crash or anything like this. And then you should lose less time when going back into the track. And another thing we added is what we call the squeeze-out behavior. So you'll see way more battling into the corner side by side. And if your car and driver is aggressive, or maybe you tell them to be aggressive, they will squeeze out the other car out of a corner, and then you'll see that sometimes you'll be forced out of the track, or maybe you'll force someone else into the track.
Yeah, so Team Affiliates really excited about this new addition for F1 Manager 24. Obviously in 23 we had reserve drivers as well. This year we expand that system to include a lot of other drivers across a lot of different ages, a lot of different categories as well. So the way this works, the driver will be assigned to an affiliate in affiliate position in F1 Manager 2024. So the player will be able to sign affiliate drivers to one of those positions. There's 10 slots currently in game planned for each team. So if a player starts with a custom team, as in we've seen from Create a Team, then they'll have those 3 slots to fill if they so wish. Obviously, finances will be key for this as well, because obviously each of those new affiliate drivers cost money to maintain. But what that gives you back as a player is an opportunity to develop a young driver, to work with them, train them to get them where you want them to be when it comes to then take one of the main race seats for the following season. So really exciting new feature. This is also going to add a lot of new faces and names to the game, which is obviously something we try and do. We always try to work on authenticity and represent real life as much as possible, and this was a really good way for us to provide that authenticity, so players can now fulfill their fantasy of creating an all-British team of Aston Martin with Hamilton and maybe even Abby Pulling, let's say, from the Alpine Academy, sign those drivers, have a full British team with staff as well, and that just gives the players a lot of tools to play with. So yeah, really exciting new feature we're adding for F1 Manager 2024. Yeah, so in F1 Manager 2024, the AI teams will have the opportunity to fill their affiliate slots as well and recruit using poaching, which is also something new for this year's game. So the AI teams will have an option to go, there's a few variables going into it, but the 2 main ones are obviously ability and potential. So if they're really high rated, the team in cause has a lot of money, a lot of resources to put behind their affiliate slots, then they might go for one of the most promising drivers or staff members as well, because this applies for drivers and staff in 24. The other variable is obviously the potential of that driver, so things like age, how good they are already in ability and overall rating, but also some considerations around mentality, how promising they are, where they are as well. If they're racing in feeder series, for example, they get a little bonus in terms of their development. So all those considerations are part of the AI system, which should be very smart in making those decisions depending on difficulty options as well. And so, yeah, this will apply to the player, but this will obviously also apply for the AI teams. Yes, so with the affiliate driver system that we're implementing for F1 Manager 2024, the players' teams will be able to elect one of those drivers to run in FP1, take one of the main driver seats, and boost the development, which is really interesting dynamic in the game. The AI teams will also use those drivers in FP1 at varied points in the season. This will happen quite frequently, and yeah, the AI teams will also get the benefits from those drivers racing in FP1, getting that experience, those laps under their belt, which is a really interesting dynamic.
Yeah, so Mechanical Failures is a brand new feature in F1 Manager 2024. And you can develop mechanical failures during the race, and so can your rivals. And you can take advantage of that. So you'll start noticing when sometimes the AI cars suddenly start conserving more and they don't push as much, and this is your chance to overtake them. And then, of course, they can do the same to you as well. But yeah, you can develop variety of different mechanical failures on your powertrain, like being your ERS, your gearbox, or your engine. And yeah, I hope you really like this new feature. So there's a variety of factors that can impact the mechanical failures in F1 Manager 2024. There's several, so some of them is temperature, wear, and also running over the curbs. And then you can see how much risk you have. And it's all about risk-reward, really. You can see how much risk you have for mechanical failures to develop. And of course, you can keep pushing and then run into the chance of developing mechanical failures, or you can try to conserve and then just to finish the race without any mechanical failures happening. But of course, you won't be able to overtake as much. And towards the end of the race as well, you'll notice that you have a chance of your powertrain to completely fail, or maybe you can try to push and just to get to the end of a race.
And if that failure is terminal, then that might give players a bit of a flashback. If there's any Hamilton fans, 2016 Malaysia, that's exactly what can happen now in the game. Obviously for the players' teams and the AI teams as well. So again, risk reward, it can happen to you, can happen to others, and it really should create dynamic championship standings as well.
So in this brand new feature in F1 Manager 2024, in mechanical failures, you can have different severities of the mechanical failures happen during the race. And of course, you start with being minor and then progressing into a major. So for example, you can have a minor failure on the ARS, which will hamper how much energy you can harvest and deploy. Or maybe it will cause your ARS to reboot, which means you can't use your ARS for a short amount of time during the race. The mechanical failures can de-escalate after the race or can escalate during the race. So if you keep pushing, you just run into a greater chance of really having a terminal fault in your engine and retiring from the race. So this mechanic adds, of course, much more choices to your play style during the race sim. And if you have a mechanical failure on your engine, do you decide to keep pushing? Do you decide to keep using this part or buying a new one? And of course, you always run into the chance of having a terminal mechanical failure on your engine, and this will affect your other engine parts as well, and you'll be forced to retire and maybe replace more parts.
There we go. That was a lot of information. So thank you very much, Alex and Carlos, for providing about all the info about some of the AI enhancements coming to F1 Manager 24, which of course I've mentioned is already available to pre-order right now, and it's released on July 23rd. And on screen you should be looking at all the pre-order now deluxe version and all the extra gubbins you get with that. So have a look. If it's of interest, please pre-order right now. So there we go. That's all the F1 Manager 24 stuff done and dusted for this show. Now we're going to move on to our final segment where I spent some time with Zach. But before that, I mean, I think you know what we're going to be talking about. In the last stream, I dropped a very subtle hint about what the next ship was going to be in Elite Dangerous. It was the Type 8. So I took some time with the wonderful Zach Cocken, sat down over lunch, and we talked about just the aesthetic look of the Type 8 and just what it's going to look like and a couple of the little features you can expect from this ship. So enjoy this little video. I'll be watching the chat. Zach, welcome back to the show. It's never going to stop being weird interviewing you.
Yeah, on the other side of the fence, right?
Yeah, well, we did so many shows together. So again, well, thank you for coming in. Thanks for sacrificing your lunch today. We're going to be talking about the Type 8. We are going to talk about Type 8.
We are,
But we've got some other bits we want to cover off really quickly. Over the weekend, as I'm sure you're aware, that was the 4th Titan, Haddad.
Yep. So
Kaboom.
Haddad has gone kaboom. Yep, it was great to see, again, a lot of engagement, a lot of players getting, in position, ready to sort of take those pictures and sort of take the videos.
Have you noticed as well, like, as the Titans have gone down one after the other, the picture quality has got better and better because now people are like, if I sit about here, I can start filming this.
The sort of minutiae of exactly where they need to be to get that great shot without risking the ship at the same time, right?
Got to feel bad for the Thar guys. Sitting there. Once they were the most terrifying force, and now we've got commanders going, yeah, I know, but we're just going to sit back here and get a picture of you as you die. We're just going to watch you.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that. It is interesting. The Titans just seem to be sort of, are they just sitting back and letting this happen? I don't know.
I mean, they seem to be. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? I would just be like, don't get, was it Han Solo said, that's great, but don't get too cocky.
Don't get cocky, yeah.
But it's great to watch, and it's good to see the Tigers get a bit of a kick in after giving it to us for so long.
It is, I know, it's been years now, it's good to see humanity fighting back a little bit.
And what we did see around the Titans was the brand new ship variant. The Python Mark II was in and around doing a bit of work around the Titan Hearts and putting a big old dent in Haddad. If you haven't seen it, the Python Mark II is now for early access if you want to pick it up, and we have a little trailer for you, so have a look at this. There we go, and that is the Python Mark II. So very, very popular amongst our players. I know it's popular amongst me, and I've done the whole meme thing where Chieftain Mark II. I can't help but say the Mark II does look better than the Chieftain.
It's a tough one, right? I mean, I still have my loyalties to the Crate Phantom, but I think the Python Mark II is probably up there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the Python Mark II, and we are talking about new ship variants. And I've got you on here to talk about the ship that I accidentally kind of mentioned at the end.
Ruin the marketing plans as always.
That's what I do, mate. At the end of the last show, we talked about the Type 8. Now, look, we're saying variants, right? And I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but it's a new ship. I don't care, right? It's a new ship. I mean, the Python Mark II kind of look different. It's lovely. Don't get me wrong, it's a wonderful ship. But this is something different.
It's a new ship.
And we're going to start showing you now. Just to be clear, chat, we're going to be talking about the design aesthetics of the Type 8. We're not going to go into many details about. There are some bits you're going to share, but we're not going to take the full capacity and capability of the ship. That will lead to probably the next show. But this show, we want to talk through maybe some of the hard work that goes into actually designing the variants and these ships that are going into the game, because a lot of work does go into it. I think you're going to see some of that now. And Zach, you spent some time with Chris Gregory, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, Chris and the art team, as always, done a stellar job of putting together something that really fits within the world of Elite Dangerous whilst having its own unique take. So yeah, thanks again, Chris and the design team for sort of spending time to sit down with me and talk about the process of not only this ship, but how do they just work in general. It's really interesting to sort of hear about that kind of stuff.
So I think before we show the first image, and again, all of this is WIP, chat, work in progress, not final, etc., yada, yada, yada. You know what we're saying. However, so before we show the first shot, should we talk a little bit about this? Should we do the unique bits now, or should we do it at the end?
Let's talk. We can talk a little bit about how they came about choosing the Type 8, right?
Okay.
As with any new ship within the game, the first thing the design team do is say, okay, let's have a look at the sort of holes within the space we've got of ships within the game, right? And what sort of hole can we plug? And for the Python, that was combat. We felt like we needed a new sort of PvP ship to challenge the Mamba. Whereas now, we've decided we need a new trade ship. And it has some functionality that makes it fit a certain...
So I thought they just did it because they missed a number out. I thought it was Type 7,
that too.
Type 9, Type 10, and we've missed a Type 8.
Right.
Holy Grail. Like 1, 2, 4, 3, sire, 3. I thought it was that, but obviously not. No, there's a reason for it, right?
Yeah, and obviously we made the Python as a combat ship. We know a lot of players are into combat. However, Elite Dangerous is very much a sort of
blaze your own trail, right?
Yeah, blaze your own trail. So there's a lot of players that don't engage with combat at all, and we want to make sure that we're listening to you guys as well and providing content for you. And that is where the Type 8 is going to come in as a really good trade ship.
So we'll talk about some of the key features. Two things we're going to talk about. We'll talk about after. But I think we should show them the first.
Sure.
So this is the first. So this is called a grey box image of the ship. So you ready for this, chat? This is the first look at the Type 8 transporter. Hooray! Hooray! Now we've got more images to show you, chat. But this, I think, just initial glance, it's radically different, right? I've never seen anything like this in Elite.
When I first heard about the Type 8, I was planning, I expected it to look like the Type 7. As we sort of saw, like you said, the Python Mark II is similar-ish to the Python, a variant. Whereas
you can tell it's from the same family, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with this, I think you can tell it, especially later on, you can see that it is like a Lakon design, but it's so unique and different within the world of Elite. I think something that the design and the art team said was, it's cool. It's nice to have a really cool combat ship that you're flying around with, but our trade players want to look cool at the same time,
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely. I mean, when I saw this, and we're going to move on to the next one in a minute, I got strong vibes just from the grey boxing, right? So this is, and again, we'll talk about this later on when I talk about how clever I think the art team are, because it's like clay, right? And you get the initial shape and then they go on, which we're going to show you in a minute. I saw this silhouette and I was like, I have never seen a ship like this in Elite Dangerous. And immediately, I think it's like the positioning of, excuse me, I'm going to cough here, but excuse me, chat, the positioning of the underhung cockpit and how you're going to see stuff, and then just the engine housing, how it looks. I was like, wow, this looks absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as you mentioned, the cockpit is in a really unique place. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but I think another thing to mention about, aside from this being one of the coolest looking ships in the game, I think it's going to be really exciting for trade commanders for two real reasons. So, it being a V2 ship, it has the sort of enhanced SEO capabilities. So that's going to make a world of difference if you're
speed trading.
Exactly, speed trading within systems. You're going to be all over the place. But also, I think potentially the most exciting news for sort of trade commanders is that this is going to be a medium ship.
So medium pad.
Medium pad, which means that you've got a lot of freedom in terms of like choosing your trade route, deciding where you want to go. But yeah, it's medium, but it still will have a significant cargo capacity. So,
I mean, when you talk about how it changes, I mean, the SEO has already made fundamental changes to Elite Dangerous players as it stands. I think for this with trade, and trade in particular, because it's all about how many credits you can make, right, and how quick you can do it, and like most efficient runs. So I think that coupled with the fact you're going to have a high capacity cargo ship that fits on a medium pad that has SEO, I think there's going to be a lot of meta going on, like working out routes, chains, what to trade, where to trade, what runs are going to be the best runs to do. I think it's going to be, it's a really cool design meets functionality with the ship.
It fits that space, right? The dev team said that they wanted to, acknowledge that there was a gap there, and they've got
plugged
a
it
ship
in.
to plug in.
All right, so I think we've got some more stuff to show you right now. So I think if we have a little scroll down to the next picture, that will help us greatly. There we go.
Yes.
So this here is the first kind of, what do we call this? Is a render shot, right? This is a render shot of the Type 8.
Yeah.
So just the difference between the grey box and this blows my mind every time I see it, because you get the shape and silhouette of the grey box, and then you get this. And when I talk about sculpting clay, how they do this is incredible. So Zach, talk to me about what we're looking at here.
Yeah, so I mean, as you said, it's almost like you see it come to life here, right? And I think there's so much inspiration that we'll talk about in a second, but one thing I did want to point out before we get onto that inspiration is on those two sort of really iconic prongs. That's where a lot of your turrets and hard points are going to be. And so when you're in that cockpit view, you're going to have those arms in front of you, and you're going to have that sort of unique view of your hard points firing, and it's going to be super cool. And I think you've mentioned it in the past where you spend a lot of your time in Elite Dangerous within your ship, in your cockpit. And this is giving you a really, really different look at the game.
It's one of the things with the cockpit, for many commanders, myself included, I guess, your ship is just an extension of you, right? Yeah, that is you. So any change to that visual aesthetic is huge, right? So we'll now be able to see the landing gear deploy, which your weapons or hard points deploy, seeing those prongs coming into land, which is going to be really important, like working out where you can put this ship down. I just think anything like that at all just feels like a vastly different experience for players. And I'm really excited to see what players do with this. And then, of course, any other cool stuff they want to put in their ship afterwards, you'll be able to see it.
And I think you make a good point about coming into land with this being a sort of big cargo ship. I think sometimes with newer players potentially landing is quite difficult, especially for me.
You're talking about me, aren't you?
Well, both of us. I think landing is quite a challenge. Sometimes experienced players fine, but with this cockpit view, you actually can get a really good view of what's underneath you, which should make it quite relatively easy to land this ship safely. Your cargo is safe on the landing.
Well, I mean, even with me flying, it's probably isn't safe, even with a better view. But I mean, look at this shot. I mean, we talked about the ship's looking sexy, right? And it's a functional cargo ship transporter, right? Still looks sexy, right? This looks.
It does.
You'd be happy to fly this. I don't want to, again. I don't want to speak ill of the Type 7, but if it's sat next to in a lineup, if you had to take one out in a date, it's not going to be a Type 7, is it?
I think it's a clean winner.
It's a clean winner.
And I think with these images, if you haven't already guessed inspiration-wise,
yes, let's talk about inspiration.
So I think, as you can tell, a lot of inspiration was actually taken from just modern-day, industrial machinery. As you can tell by the sort of paneling. So what the team have done, Chris and the team, is actually remove a lot of the external paneling so that you can see a lot of the sort of engines and tools and machinery, just to sort of get that more industrial feel. But apart from that, there is also another big inspiration that the team have taken for this ship, and I think this is what you were talking about straight away, right? So if you haven't guessed, chat, inspiration came from Ron Cobb, who I believe was a really successful sci-fi concept artist, primarily, I believe, famous for Alien, amongst other things. And I think you noticed that.
I saw the shapes. I mean, I'll be honest. I saw the shapes, and then as soon as I saw the colour, I immediately went to the power loader prongs from Aliens, and then obviously there's the Betty from Alien Resurrection. We don't talk too much about that film, but the aesthetic design is fantastic. It's just, it feels used. It feels like a working ship. It's a bit used. It's a bit bruised. It feels like it's run a million light years already, and that's what I love about this ship. It's what I like about all Lakon ships actually, is they speak to me on an aesthetic level. I've said this before, I don't like the super sleek designs. I don't like the Mamba. I don't like the Courier. Not because I think the ships are terrible, I just don't like the design. I don't feel lived in. This feels lived in. You can almost imagine this landing on a desolate rocky planet and doing some trade. It's just a wonderful, wonderful design piece.
Yeah, and I think another little sort of Easter egg is the render. Obviously, the colours aren't particularly final. They may be, they may not be. But the yellow we've gone for here is another nod to the Nostromo, which apparently was initially Ron Cobb had the idea that it would be yellow.
Oh, really? I never knew that. I never knew that. I'm a big fan of it. That's a bit of trivia I did not know. Yes, fact checkers are wrong, but I imagine that's pretty right. I mean, I think I saw the picture of the Betty was also yellow, so I'd imagine you're probably absolutely bang on there. Yeah, so there we go. But it's a wonderful, wonderful looking ship, and also you've got something we like to talk about, which is greebling.
Greebling, yes, it's a great word, and I'm sure a lot of sort of sci-fi fans might be aware of what greebling is, but if you're not, think about maybe the Death Star from the sort of original Star Wars film, and how the sort of close-ups of the Death Star had all that sort of detailing on the model, and basically it's just sort of lowering and raising elements and adding that sort of blocky feel to make it just feel much more, like you said, sort of lived in and realistic. And you can see that with the Type 8, especially on the prongs there, the sort of, as you saw in the block out, it was very much like, a rectangular, you saw the idea, right?
Yeah.
But it really comes to life when you add that greebling and the detail throughout.
But it's like I said, it's like they get that initial shape, and then you just carve away until they get something that sort of fits the aesthetic. But I genuinely love this. And again, although I speak ill of the Type 7, you can still see it's part of the family. You can still see it's clearly a Lakon ship. Still fits quite nicely in that gap. We have now fulfilled the Type 8. It now makes sense. It's not a mystery. So there we go. That is a first look, I guess, at the Type 8. Just to recap, next show we will hopefully be able to show you this in action. We're both moving around a little bit. Very much, I think we did this with the Python as well, didn't
similar,
we? Probably hopefully try and get you a cockpit shot to get an idea of what the cockpit will look like as you're moving around. But it's SEO enabled. We'll fit in a medium pad. We'll have a great capacity. So it's going to really change the game in terms of trading.
And it looks super cool.
And it will look super cool. Like you can wear your trucking cap.
You can.
You can look pretty cool pulling up to your whatever space station or fleet carrier you're going to be up to.
Any medium.
On a medium pad. And you can make some serious credits. Zach, thank you so much for coming and have a chat to us. Thank you as well to Chris and all the art team and everyone working on Elite Dangerous for keep giving us all this information and let us badge you for this stuff, because I know your time is precious. I mentioned next show we might come back and talk about I'll show the Type 8 in action, but we might have some other bits to talk about. Potentially. So will you come back, potentially share another lunchtime with me? I know you love spending lunchtime with me.
I love spending lunchtime with you, mate, anytime.
But yeah, let's do that. I hope you've enjoyed that first look at the Type 8. I think we can all agree it's a fantastic looking ship. Generally, trade ships don't necessarily do it for me, but again, Chris and the team, I'm conflicted. Conflicted.
New ship every time.
It's going to be great. All right, Zach, thank you very much. I'm going to throw back to me, I guess, back to me in this studio tomorrow, because this is pre-recorded. Weird. Please, chat, excuse my big grin on my face. I was just enjoying all of the chat. I was really confident about how people would respond to the look of the Type. I think we can all agree it's a fantastic looking ship, and Chris Gregg and the whole team have done such an incredible job with that. It's, I saw a wonderful quote. It's boxy, but it's good. I know the film reference that's from, but it's such a wonderful ship. We will have more details on the Type 8 in the next show. Like I said before, we'll hope to get some video footage of that moving around and some cockpit views for you. Thank you, as always, to the wonderful Zach for taking his lunch. And I enjoyed the justice for Zach, give him some lunch. I'll get him a sandwich next time he's in, right? But he spent some time over lunch talking to me yesterday all about the Type 8. And I told you, last month, when I saw the first images of the Type 8, I knew straight away, I was like, this looks so different. So really, really excited to share more details on that and more details about some other things for Elite Dangerous coming up. No mic drop this month. I'll be told off if I do, but you should probably tune in next month. That's been it for the show. I hope you really enjoyed it. Thanks to all of our guests. Thanks to all the people that spent time. And thanks most importantly to our chat for tuning in and joining. And to all the mods that every time we have a show are in there tirelessly working. So big love to all of you. We'll be back on the next stream on, it's right, Wednesday, the 26th of June. And I will see you there. And I'm going to maintain the kiss goodbye. Love you all. See you in the next one.